This is the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on June 9th, 2017. Our time is 8:44 Mountain. A radio show runs 6:30 CHED in Edmonton, normally Sunday afternoon at 3. But today we're on from 2:30 to 3:30. Prior to the pregame show, our Edmonton Eskimos. Yes, the CFL is back. Calgary in town at the Brickfield at Commonwealth Stadium to play the Eskimos at 5 o'clock. Pre-game show at 3:30 right after our program. If you ever miss a radio show, they're archived on Harold's website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. rarecoloreddiamonds.com. We have a podcast through iTunes. Type in the World Financial Report on Radio. You will find us there. Connect with Harold at 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week is a .33 carat radiant cut fancy green. And I love green diamonds. We'll talk about green diamonds and this diamond in particular in the second half of the show. We'll also go back in time and talk about a special coin that Harold offered many, many years ago, and you're going to be surprised at how much it's increased in price. As we tape today's program here in Canada, jobs numbers. We added 54,500 jobs, the unemployment rate 6.6%. Also yesterday, Theresa May, the leader of the Conservative UK Party, they actually called a snap election, hoping it would give them a bigger majority than they already had, a mandate to deal with the Brexit. Oops, they lost their majority. Now, they are going to go to the Queen today and put together a minority government, but they went from a majority to a minority, and they will have to deal with the Brexit based on that. Also, the news yesterday, James Comey testified in front of a Senate hearing in the United States, the former FBI director fired by U.S. President Donald Trump. And one of the things that was surprising, that he leaked a document to a friend who had been an FBI agent, who's now a professor, and that professor passed it on to the New York Times. There was really nothing in the smoking gun variety. If you're Donald Trump, I think actually you came out okay after that hearing. Now, Harold, you and I touched base at the beginning of the week, and you were telling me about these superstorms that you were having down in Florida. You're a Canadian who lives in Florida and Colorado. And yes, it was quite a week for those Canadians down in Florida because of these big superstorms.
You better believe it, Randy. In all the 36 years that I've been down in South Florida, I have never, ever seen anything like this. I mean, I've been through some of the big hurricanes, and that's comparable to what we actually went through this week. We had so much rain that the lake behind my house actually rose by about a foot and almost actually came into our home. One of the biggest malls in South Florida, the Sawgrass Mall right near where our office is actually been underwater for 3 days now. They've closed the entire mall, which is unbelievable. And the fact is you can't tell the difference between the parking lot and the surrounding lakes. So there had to be billions of dollars worth of damage. The roads were so flooded, and Miami is actually below sea level. So there's times during the day that certain roads in Miami are actually underwater anyways. Now you've got water in some parts of South Florida on the roads that are 4 to 5 feet deep. In fact, so many cars have been left abandoned that are underwater. So it was something that we saw 4 days of solid rain where we got over a foot of rain within that period of time. And because the water level and the water table in Florida is so low, that the flooding was just unbelievable. Last couple of days, it's backed off a little bit, but this weekend, they're talking about more rains coming. So it was quite frightening, to be honest with you, to look out the back window of my home and seeing the water creeping closer and closer, knowing that we were only 4 or 5 feet away from our house being submerged underwater. So Fortunately, at this point here, the last couple of days, it's backed off a little bit, but I've got to say it was very stressful seeing this happen. In fact, in the cul-de-sac where we live, the water was 3 feet high. My wife couldn't get her car out of the driveway, nor could we get out of the house. The only one that could really get out was myself, and still managed to get to work every day, but it was concerning. So these superstorms, Randy, are coming more and more frequent. In fact, in South Florida, well, actually in the United States, they're saying that this is going to be above average hurricane season, and again, that's quite concerning. Myself personally, because of hurricanes, I go out to Colorado for 4 months from June till October. So I'll be out there from June the 14th to the middle of October just to be able to continue to work, do my thing, and be out of the path of possible hurricanes this year. But it's been an incredible situation, 4 days of solid rain, and seeing what it did to South Florida. All you have to do, people, is Google flooding in South Florida, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You're going to see something that you've never seen before. It was actually very, very stressful, but it looks like we may be out of the woods at this point. We're hoping that we don't get a ton of rain this weekend. In the meantime, the markets were very volatile this week in the sense that it was sitting there watching to see what was going to happen with Trump. They felt that possibly the worst was going to happen. And actually what happened is that the U.S. dollar started to weaken during the course of the week. But after Thursday, when they actually did clear Trump, the dollar came right back up. And basically we anticipate that that is going to continue. However, there's lots of concern out there. There's a lot of concern over the credit situations and the amount of money outstanding in the United States. In fact, in the newsletter this week, we have a report from one of our favorite analysts, Clive Mond. So you got to read this article because he's very bullish on gold, as are we. We believe that you need to be back into the gold market at this point physically. You need to own physical gold because of all the situations that are happening worldwide right now, that any one of these could send the price of gold skyrocketing. So I think at this particular point, we need to start to ease back into the gold market. I know that we've got our gold program started now. Our clients could literally buy physical gold from us at the spot price. Now, there's a bid and an ask. In any transaction, there's always an ask and a bid price. You buy at the ask, sell at the bid. There's a spread between the two. For our Canadian clients, we're making gold available at the bid price. So there is no commission, there's no markup, there's no spread. You're literally able to buy gold at the last sale, which is not possible with any other firm, but because we own our own gold mines, we're able to bring this to you. It's extremely important that you start to look back at the physical gold market. Don't leverage it. Don't finance it, own it outright. We could ship the gold directly to you. At this particular point, the gold that we are offering is only in kilos. So, you know, it's for larger investors at this point. But again, if you buy gold at, for example, $1,260 at $1,260.01, you're in profits with us. There are no fees, no commissions, and no spread. And it's important at this point. You can see how quickly these markets can change because there's so many geopolitical situations happening at this time that it is very possible that we could wake up one morning and see gold up the limit. Now, the fact is that Clive Mond, who I have a lot of respect for, and I know Randy does also, feels basically the same way that we do. He feels that the precious metal sector is getting ready to run substantially. And he's saying that gold could make a quick run to almost 1,600. Now, before that happens, there's minor support in gold at around the 1,300 level. We got to 1,290 last week or during the early part of the week, but it couldn't break into the 1,300 level. The major resistance level for gold is at 1,380. If we were to break 1,380 and close 2 days in a row above 1,380 gold, then the next major level is around the 1,550 level. So that's about a $300 move from now. We could make a ton of money on a $300 move. So again, at this point, we saw firsthand how the markets react, how the currencies can change, how all the markets can be on alert when something like what happened on Thursday with the testimony of the FBI director here. So it appears to me that he's cleared Trump, but there still appears to be issues. And again, with Donald Trump, we know that he's a loose cannon, and we know that things can happen out of nowhere. We're very concerned about a potential problem with North Korea and what's happening in the Middle East. So again, at this point here, for larger investors, again, a kilo of gold is 2.2 pounds of gold. It's the most beautiful thing that you've ever seen in your lifetime. To hold a kilo of gold in your hand of 99.9% pure gold is something that most people have never experienced, but we can make this available to you. In actual fact, I will actually trade the gold for you if you would like us to. I've been known as one of the better gold traders in the business. I'm the one who called gold from 250 to 1900. So we do have programs available that you could trade gold with us in physical gold, and I will actually do the trading for you and not even charge you a commission. So if you're interested in learning about gold at this point, it's extremely important with the financial markets the way they are right now, that we could see a rally coming in gold. But regardless of the fact, you need gold as a hedge against everything else that's out there that could happen. And I do believe that it's very possible that we could see, for the second time in history, a strong U.S. dollar and a strong gold market. So again, we need to get into gold at this time. I've got some phenomenal gold opportunities for our Canadian clients. And again, I want to make certain that if you missed the last gold run that we had, which was the biggest bull market in history, that you don't miss it this time. We've got an opportunity to make an awful lot of money again in the gold market. In actual fact, with the program that we have, if we bought gold at $1,260 and it just went to $1,300, you've made a beautiful profit. And again, we take no part of the commissions and no part of the spread whatsoever. So all those that are interested in getting back into the gold market, it's imperative at this point that you consider gold again as one of the stronger potential trades coming up. Again, we've got an opportunity, in my opinion, to pick up a $200 to $300 move in gold, which could make us a literal fortune in the market. So this week, again, we saw the markets on alert because of Trump. And the fact is, once Comey really cleared Trump, the market got strong again. The U.S. dollar broke over 97 cents. And again, I think all is well at this particular point until the next debacle comes. Now, we've also got a situation where oil's been dropping. Crude oil market is down to 45.65 as we are still seeing cheating from OPEC, and that's something that we always know is going to happen. If OPEC says they're going to cut production, believe me, they're going to cheat. They've always done that. In the 35 years that I've traded oil, this has always been the case. So the fact is that as long as there's still an oversupply of oil, the fact is oil is going to be under pressure. But there is going to be a time in the foreseeable near future that the oil market is going to take off again. We'll certainly let you know when we think that is going to happen. But again, at this point, oil is down to 45.65, which is putting more pressure on the Canadian dollar because, again, the Canadian economy is a commodity-based economy. So the fact is that if commodities are down, it only adds to the fact and pushes down the Canadian dollar. Now, most of the investments that my clients are in, my Canadian clients, are all in U.S. dollar-based investments. We've been getting out of the Canadian dollar for the last 5 years. And the reason for that is, it's not that we're not in love with Canada. We are. But the bottom line is that the U.S. dollar is getting strong and the Canadian dollar is weakening. If that's the case and it's going to continue for the next, several years, we want to take advantage of that. We want to be able to move Canadian dollars into U.S. dollar-based investments. Now, gold is a U.S. dollar-based investment. That's one that's extremely important. Diamonds are also priced in U.S. dollars, even though diamonds can be sold in other currencies. We're also recommending the purchase of extremely rare coins. We have a major auction coming up. It's going to start in the next 2 weeks, and a major part of the auction is diamonds, but the other part of the auction is extremely rare coins. Our coins have increased in value so substantially over the last 8 to 10 years, I'm absolutely shocked by the returns that we're seeing on coins that we bought 8 to 10 years ago. So again, it certainly appears to me that it's certainly the time for alternative assets. People are starting to get very concerned about the U.S. stock market. It's over 21,000. But in the United States, it's the best game in town right now. So you've still got a lot of foreign investors putting money into the U.S. markets. But again, at this point here, it's a market that I'm personally very uncomfortable with. We've seen several times that the stock market has plummeted. Obviously, the biggest one was back in 2008 when the Dow dropped from 14,000 all the way down to 6,500. Those type of moves come every, so often. And at this particular point, we're looking at the leverage in the stock market at this point is one of the highest we've ever seen, and that's something that really sets off alerts to me. I would not be in the stock market at this particular time. It's way too high, and again, the economies around the world are just in trouble. So we could wake up any morning and see a total change in the market, which is why you really need to diversify at this point. The other thing is that when I say that we move our clients out of Canadian dollars into U.S. dollar-based investments, we have two private investments that our clients invest in that pay over 25% a year, and that's all in U.S. dollars. I know those returns sound ridiculous, but these are private investments that we allow our clients to partner with us on, which is why the returns are so high. So if you're sitting in stocks and mutual funds at this point, I'd be concerned if I was you. If you're not sitting with physical gold at this particular point, I would be concerned. We can help you with that immediately because we have we've got kilos of the most beautiful 99.9% gold bars that you've ever held in your hand, and they're heavy. They weigh 2.2 pounds or just over 35 ounces of gold. You can literally buy gold through us at the bid price, means you're not paying a commission and you're not paying a spread. And again, if we get the $300 move in gold that we're looking for, that could make you a ton of money. So again, at this point, Randy, things are starting to heat up again, but I would not be in the paper asset market. I would be in the alternative asset market, which is assets that you can hold in your hand that are actual assets like gold, like diamonds, like art, like coins, like those type of things. In the next 2 weeks, our auction is going to start. We're just starting to advertise it now. We basically have our catalog together. It's a spectacular option. Elizabeth Taylor's brooches coming up for sale. There's a 2.09 Asher cut, vivid yellow flawless diamond that's a 10 out of 10, and that diamond's one of the rarest yellow diamonds in the world. That diamond is coming up for sale. There's some coins that are just off the charts ridiculous, kilo silver coins, and I'm just so excited about the auction. We've worked so hard on it, and it's taken us several months to get this together, but it's a new type of auction, and it's going to go on through the entire summer. It's going to go on for at least 4 months. So, again, it's very exciting. We've got some amazing opportunities to make money, and again, we'd like our Canadian listeners to the show to get in touch with us ASAP so we can enlighten you as to how you can now start to make money in U.S. dollars. We've got some phenomenal plans, and again, I think the markets right now are just ripe for this type of situation. We need to be in alternative assets because mutual funds, stocks, bonds, anything paper is very concerning, and we believe we're getting ready for a run in gold. We need to get involved at this particular point.
Connect with Harold, 1-800-432-1022. There are opportunities that Harold has for a limited time. A lot of Canadians sitting in cash, GICs, money market accounts. Get out of those. You're only earning 1% at best. And if you use the rule of 72, your money will double in 72 years, actually even longer, because if it's outside a retirement account, you're paying tax on it. You're basically getting nothing when you take into account inflation. You're in a negative position. Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Lots of money-making ideas. 1-800-432-1022. 1-800-432-1022. The website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week, and we will talk about it coming up in the second half of the show, is a stunning green diamond. It's a 0.33 carat, radiant cut, fancy green. See it online, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond. Don't forget, we are on a little early today due to the fact that our Eskimos are hosting the Calgary Stampeders Battle of Alberta. preseason game at 5 o'clock, pregame show coming up at 3:30. Now, Harold touched on a couple of interesting points about the stock market, and I think it bears repeating that now is a time to be very, very cautious. You had Jim Rogers come out. He was interviewed on BusinessInsider.com by Henry Blodgett, and Jim Rogers said that he thinks the next crash could be the biggest crash we have ever seen in the financial world. Bill Gross says market risk is highest since 2008 in the crisis. He says U.S. markets are at their highest risk levels since before the 2008 financial crisis because investors are paying a high price for the chances they're taking. According to Gross, manager of the $2 billion Janus Henderson Global Unconstrained Bond Fund, instead of buying low and selling high, you're buying high and crossing your fingers. I like that, Bill. Good one. Bill has been around for a while, 73 years old, and he was speaking at a Bloomberg Investment Summit. Central bank policies for low and negative interest rates are artificially driving up asset prices while creating little growth in the real economy and punishing individual savers. You know, people like my mom and maybe your mom and grandmother who are trying to keep their money safe and get by month to month. Banks, insurance companies. The U.S. economy is expected to grow about 2.2% this year and 2.3% in 2018, according to forecasts compiled by Bloomberg. And Bill Gross saying the market at the highest risk since pre-2008. Also, Elliott Singer, and he is one of the top fund managers, a billionaire investor. He actually recently came out with a fund to raise money for opportunities he believes are coming very, very soon. I think they ended up raising a couple of $1 billion. Singer warns system may be more over-leveraged than 2008. And Paul Singer said distorted monetary and regulatory policies have increased risks for investors almost a decade after the financial crisis. He says, I'm very concerned about where we are. And he was speaking at the Bloomberg Investment Summit in New York. What we have today is a global financial system that's just about as levered and in many cases more levered than before 2008. And I don't think the financial system is more sound. He's very concerned. And on the stock market front, it was interesting to note from King World News, Jason Gumford, this remarkable indicator just hit the second highest level in 55 years. The Federal Reserve in the United States released its latest quarterly report on financial assets. And on Thursday, and it's no surprise that it showed investors have done very well, the total value of equities held by households reached 86% of gross domestic product, moving to the second highest reading since 1952, exceeding only by the second quarter of 1999 through the third quarter of 2000. Equities as a percentage of total household assets remain about the same, not quite as extreme, but barely so. Private pension funds have 80% of their stock bond cash allocation in stocks, the highest since 2005 to 2007. As a result, their cash cushion dropped to 3.5% of assets, the second lowest in history, next to the first quarter of 2015. While there is a certain amount of circular reasoning in using this data, it mildly suggests that stocks are fully valued as they have been at any other point in the past 70 years, limiting the likelihood of substantial and sustained further gains. That according to Jason Gumford. And when you have a Jim Rogers come out and saying the next financial crash will be the biggest ever, Bill Gross concerned about pre-2008 crisis levels, also Elliott Singer concerned about distorted monetary policy. I think the best line, though, Harold, is instead of buying low and selling high, you're buying high and crossing your fingers, and that is not a great way to invest. We have about a minute and a half left here.
No, it is not. The worst thing is obviously buying high, because the general public they hear it on the news every day. They see what's going on. They rush in at the very end to try to make a few dollars, and they're the ones that always end up getting hurt. Just look at the Canadian real estate market right now in Toronto. I mean, it peaked out, obviously. We saw the prices start to decline. I mean, you certainly know that when real estate goes up over 33% in 1 month, that's a bubble. But it doesn't give you enough time to sell out. So, again, it's just a perfect example of what we're talking about. When the markets are high and the more volatile they get, you just want to sit back and let the markets correct and then make a decision as to whether you want to go back into it. But to run into a massive running market is not a smart thing because, again, you end up buying high and selling low, and that's a recipe for losing, and we certainly don't want to see that happen.
Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Our featured diamond of the week is a .33 carat radiant cut fancy green. And greens are diamonds of the future. These diamonds are much coveted. We'll talk about the Aurora green coming up after the break. But check it out, featured diamond of the week, 3.33 carat radiant cut fancy green diamond from rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Going to come back and talk about diamonds as the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall, continues right after this. Welcome back to the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel. My name is Randy Marshall. Joining us via the telephone, our financial and diamond expert, Harold Siegel. We're taping our show on June 9th, 2017. Our time is 9:12 Mountain. Radio show runs normally at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, 6:30 CHED. Today, Eskimos, Calgary Stampeders, Battle of Alberta, first preseason game of the CFL season. And next Thursday, the Eskimos are off to Winnipeg, the 2 preseason games, and then we have our first regular season game off in BC. But at 5 o'clock, Commonwealth Stadium, the Brick Field, that will be a preseason game, the Battle of Alberta, and the pre-game show coming up at 3:30. Connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022, 1-800-432-1022, our featured diamond of the week. And I love green diamonds, and maybe we did this in honor of the Eskimos. Who knows? Our featured diamond of the week, a .33 carat radiant cut fancy green diamond. See it online at rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Featured diamond of the week. And Harold, one of the things that you and I were talking about before the show starting, many years ago, and it was prior to 2005 when you brought to our attention the rare colored diamond market, we offered obviously gold and silver, and we talked about collectible coins. And there were lots of different collectible coins at that time. We had gold coins, silver, platinum, there were euro coins, multi-metal coins, and I remember in particular one real winner was the Pope, Prophet of Peace. And those were coins that were done through the Vatican for Pope John Paul II. And when he passed away, they actually buried those coins in his coffin. And those coins were massive, massive winners. Now, there was one coin, though, and it was called the Tiffany Art coin. And I'm looking at it right now. It was just an absolutely beautiful coin because it had Tiffany glass in the coin. And Harold, I'll let you describe it and tell the story behind the Tiffany Art coin. But many years ago, about 2004, we offered this coin, and people will be stunned to hear the backstory on it now.
You bet, Randy. It was a 2-ounce silver coin, and as you said, it was inlaid with Tiffany glass. Now, I started offering these. They were difficult to get. There's no doubt about it. But I started offering them in 2004, 2005. I remember, and I'll let you know, I paid $150 for these coins. I believe I sold them for $300 a piece, and I couldn't find them anymore. So I was doing some research this week, and lo and behold, I found a couple of these coins with private investors. And do you know that the price now has gone from the $150 that I paid for them back in 2004 they're now selling, if you could ever get one, for about $2,500. They've gone up over 600% in the last 12 or 13 years. But again, what investment returns that type of return? Also back in 2004, we did these kilo coins, and this particular one was a 2004 1 kilo Silver Lunar Series. It was the year of the monkey, and I remember it had a diamond in its eye. I was selling these for under $2,000, and I found one the other day that was available for $9,000. That's how much these coins are going up. So when we talk about alternative assets, when we talk about the opportunity to invest in a hard asset that you own, that you have with you, that you display in your home, like these beautiful Libertad Mexican kilo coins, so all these type of coins now we're going to bring and make available on our auction site, which is going to start in the next 2 weeks. So again, I'm so excited about doing the research on these coins and finding out how much they've gone up in value, and many of my clients own these coins. So again, it just turned out to be a godsend because, again, where we knew that they were a good buy, and because they were pure silver and pure gold and pure platinum, we figured just intrinsically they would go up as the price of gold and silver and platinum went up. But little did I know that these would become so difficult to get in the future and such huge collector items that the prices have gone off the charts. Some of them have gone up over 1,000%. So pay close attention. We are going to be starting our auction in the next 2 weeks. All of you can go to H. Siegel Fine Auctions and sign up for this next auction coming because it's going to be spectacular. Elizabeth Taylor's brooch is going to be on there, which is going to draw a ton of attention. We've got one of the most beautiful yellow diamonds that I've ever seen, an Asher cut over 2 carats that's vivid in color. It's a 10 out of 10. The diamond is worth, upwards of $400,000. That's going up for sale. We have some other yellow flawless diamonds going up for sale for some clients. We have just some unbelievable thing. We've got a Longines one-of-a-kind men's watch that's going to go up for sale, and this auction is going to go on for several months. So it's very, very exciting. It's something that will give our clients an opportunity to reinvest in some investment items that we know have done tremendously well in the past and will only do even greater in the future because these are almost impossible to get pieces. So very, very excited about that, Randy. And again, as far as the featured diamond goes, it's one of the most beautiful diamonds you'll see. Green diamonds are the next blues. Blues have gone up so much in value that in 2005, a vivid blue diamond sold at auction for about $200,000 a carat. And this year, we've seen vivid blue important diamonds sell for $4 to $5 million a carat. So again, you may look at the stock market and look at your returns, and you're going to see nothing. All you have to do is look at your retirement savings plans and look at your stock portfolio and your mutual funds and realize that you've been in these markets for over a decade and haven't made any money. But here are hard assets and alternative assets that have gone up 500 to 1,000% in the same period of time that your stocks have done absolutely nothing. Let me help you with that. We have private programs that we allow our clients to partner with us on that are paying our clients over 25% a year and more in U.S. dollars. You need to get out of Canadian dollar-based investments at this point, and let me show you how to make money in alternative assets. These coins have gone up way past what I ever thought that they could increase, and there's no end in sight for them. And I've got coins coming in that will give you the opportunity to buy low and sell high, just like we did 10 and 15 years ago. So again, Randy, where the investment world today is extremely nerve-wracking because you never know what you're going to wake up to. The President of the United States possibly being impeached, for lying and doing other things. that alone would change everything in the United States if that had happened. So again, let me show you how to make money in the alternative asset market and do it in U.S. dollars. And we're, at this point, we have clients that are in some of our investments that are paying, 24, 25% a year that are literally retired because they get a monthly income. So again, if you're sitting in retirement savings plans in Canada, you're not going to make any money. Let me show you how to get out of those and put your money to work in areas that will allow you to retire one day as opposed to working into your 70s, which most people are at this point.
One coin that Harold offered back in 2004, and I remember it well because I really felt it was one of the most beautiful coins I have ever seen. Harold had it in his home. He showcased it there. It was like a museum piece. It was the 2004 Libertad, and it was 1 kilogram of pure silver, and it was from the Mexican Mint. And the design on this coin was just absolutely stunning. It was so beautiful. I know, Harold, at that time when you first got those coins, you had one for yourself, and you showcased it at your home, and people were literally falling all over themselves. They couldn't believe how beautiful that coin was. And back in 2004, when we offered the Vatican series, the Tiffany coin, the Libertads, we had some beautiful, beautiful coins.
I just absolutely love that. And they became so difficult to get, but I got to say that I'm so proud of the fact that those particular pieces have increased as much as they have. But we've been able to bring some amazing items over the years. As far as silver coins, I mean, just looking back, the 2004 Diamond Eye Year of the Monkey coin, that alone has gone up, according to prices today, by 800%, and that's over the last 13 years. What asset goes up 1,300% in that period of time? I mean, we've had some unbelievable coins. We had the 2005 Year of the Rooster. That has done the same. We've had some 5-ounce and 10-ounce silver coins that have just skyrocketed. The Libertad back in 2004 has gone up probably 1,000%. They're almost impossible to get. So congratulations to all of our clients that own these coins. If you ever want to sell those coins, please get in touch with me. I'll put them on our auction site, and we'll only charge you 10% of what the profit is. So that's what we do for our clients. Anything that you purchase through my companies, when you do put them up for auction, we only get a percentage of the profit, nothing of anything else. So if we don't make you money, we don't make anything ourselves. But obviously, by what's happening with these coins at this point, it's just been unbelievable. I'm just so pleased with the results. Now we've got these auctions coming up, and we've been able to secure some coins from far back and some newer ones. And again, these just look like locked-in winners. And again, they're priced in U.S. dollars, which is going to help us tremendously as the U.S. dollar gets stronger and the Canadian dollar unfortunately weakens. But again, we have no control over what happens, but if it's going to happen, which is happening in front of our eyes, we might as well make money on it rather than sit there and not do anything, because you're going to realize the difference in the Canadian American dollar when you start to travel. If you're Canadian traveling to the States and you're converting Canadian dollars, right now it's going to cost you $1,360 Canadian to get 1,000 American. We feel that at the high it's going to be 2,000 Canadian to buy 1,000 American, that the Canadian dollar will literally be worth half of what the U.S. dollar is worth. If that's going to happen and we don't make money off it, shame on us. We just missed one of the great opportunities. And let's face it, I get calls almost every week from people that say that they wish that they had taken our advice back in 2000 when gold was at $250 and it was the biggest bull market for 11 years. That market ran and went all the way to 1920. Literal fortunes were made at that point. But again, we think that we're now going to get another rally in gold. We've got physical gold. Now, right now, it's not for the smaller investors because we're only offering kilos. But 2.2 pounds, 35 ounces of 99.9% gold, we will sell to our clients at the bid price with no spread and no commissions. That means as soon as gold moves up 1 penny from where you bought it, you'll be in profits, and that's what we do for our clients. I'm just ecstatic at this point, Randy. We've got some unbelievable opportunities at a time when most people are extremely concerned and confused as to what to do with their investments.
Harold's website for auctions is hsfineauctions.com, and we've had some amazing auctions over the years. hsfineauctions.com. And since Harold and I have been doing the show together, the calls that he has made, if you're listening to our show for the first time, back in obviously 2000, gold was around $250, $300. And that was a call he made. People at that time basically thought we were lunatics, and that is the truth. We're not lying here. And gold went all the way to over $1,900, $1,920. We also called the silver market at that time. Silver was around $4, and once again, people thought, no, you're crazy. And silver ended up going all the way to close to $49, actually right around $49 in 2011. And there were people that I had the opportunity to meet along the way that did invest with Harold, and those that invested in silver on their own privately. I remember one woman, she had made an investment privately on her own through a broker, and the broker said, "Oh, I don't know about this," and she made a lot of money, and he said, "Well, I think you're on to something." So, and then you add in, obviously, Harold calling the oil market, and I think that might have been one of his best calls, because we had oil at about $18, $20 when we started the show, and it went all the way up to $149. I remember that so well. And then on top of it, the call on the euro. The euro came out. It was new. It was trading at about 87 cents against the U.S. dollar, and then it climbed all the way to 160. And that was a massive, massive win for those that traded that currency. And then we're bringing up and talking about it today, the coins, the collectible coins that we offered. And we had the 25th anniversary of the nomination of Pope John Paul II. That was a coin that we had that did phenomenal. We had the Vatican set of coins. Like, think about it. Here you invest in a coin set, and that coin set is put into the coffin of the Pope John Paul, when he passed away. They took those coins and put them, for posterity's sake, in his coffin. And there were people that had those as collectibles and something they can enjoy for the rest of their life. On top of it, obviously, it was an investment that is done very, very well. And now, back in 2005, Harold brought to our attention rare colored diamonds. He started a website, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, wrote an article in August of that year called Naturally Fancy Colored Diamonds, the Best Kept Secret. And they were the best kept secret, and have, obviously, over the last 12 years, become an asset that many people are investing in. As we've talked to you about over the last 12 years on this radio program, our featured diamond this week is a .33 carat radiant cut fancy green. And Harold, ironically, 1 year ago, the Aurora Green diamond sold for a record-breaking price of $16.8 million. The 5.03 carat Aurora Green diamond set 2 world records at auction, and that was at Christie's Hong Kong Magnificent Jewel Sale, selling for more than $16.8 million. The rectangular cut fancy vivid green sold for $3.3 million per carat. The green diamond with VS2 clarity mounted on a gold ring, surrounded by circular cut pink diamonds, was purchased by Hong Kong-based Chow Tai Fook Jewelry, one of the largest jewelry retailers in the world. Its price was at the low end of the estimate. The diamond shattered the previous record for green diamonds, which was set earlier for the Ocean Dream, a 5.5 carat fancy vivid blue-green diamond. And that sold for $8.6 million, $1.5 million per carat. So when it comes to records, the largest fancy vivid green diamond ever to be offered at auction, the most expensive green diamond in the world to be sold at auction, the highest per price per carat ever sold at any green diamond in the world at auction, and the most expensive green diamond to be sold in Asia. Harold, green diamonds are winners.
Better believe it, Randy. And again, we said this about a year ago, that the greens are the next blues and those are the diamonds next. Green diamonds are very, very rare, almost impossible to get. Green diamonds turn green because uranium seeps into the ground and turns a diamond green. You know, a diamond mine, 99.9% of a diamond mine is white diamond. When a mineral like uranium or boron or nitrogen seeps into the mine, it can change a diamond to a color. Now, they're both the same composition. A white diamond and a colored diamond are exactly the same, except it turned color because of a mineral, again, seeping into the ground and changing the color of the diamond. I mean, two diamonds identical can come out of a mine. One of them can be white worth $20,000, and one of them can be blue. Just because it turned blue, that diamond could be worth multi-millions. So it's just an unbelievable, process type of thing, and just so happy to be in that business, especially now. I mean, looking at what diamonds are fetching at auction and seeing what these coins are fetching at auction just makes me feel phenomenal, because these are all things that we predicted years and years and years ago, and to see where the prices are today are just sensational. So again, our auctions are starting up again. Within the next 2 weeks, we'll start our first auction, and that will go on throughout the entire summer and probably till the end of the year. We're going to have amazing diamonds. We're going to have amazing coins and other products to bring to you that are all items that we believe will continue to make you money. So again, Randy, I couldn't be more thrilled at this particular point. Because of the uncertainty in the financial world today, it's these hard alternative assets that are really doing better than any investment out there.
Connect with Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. See our featured diamond. Rarecoloreddiamonds.com, featured diamond of the week, a 0.33 carat radiant cut, fancy green. If you'd like to get our free weekly newsletter, the companion to our radio show, you can go through it in 5 to 10 minutes, be completely up to date on what's happening in the world financially, or you can spend hours. In there, we have a diamond section. We have info on the Aurora green. Also, there was a diamond ring we talked about a few weeks back. It was purchased for $13 as costume jewelry. It sold for $848,000 in London during the week. We also have, and it's interesting to note, 2 stories that came out during the week. In the United States, diamonds are a millennial's best friend. Diamonds making a comeback in America as more millennials fall for diamonds long associated with eternal love. And we have a chart of the week, flush with cash, Americans buying more diamonds than ever. And we encourage you to get our free weekly newsletter through Harold, rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. And Harold, we have about 30 seconds left.
Well, again, it's just that this is not a time to speculate. This is a time to be much more cautious, because again, these markets are so uncertain, and to trade in the paper asset market like stocks and commodities and leverage and futures and all, stay away from those right now. They'll kill you. You need to be in more conservative investments. I have opportunities for our Canadian clients that are conservative but pay extremely well. Please get in touch with me, and I'll sit down with you over the phone and explain to you what your potential is, and I'm very excited to be able to do that.
Thank you very much, Harold Siegel, for another great show and your knowledge.
It's my pleasure, Randy. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend and a very profitable day.
Obviously, connect with Harold at rarecoloreddiamonds.com, 1-800-432-1022. Educate yourself. How do you invest today so you can retire tomorrow? That's why we do the show. That's why people call who listen to our radio program and speak with Harold on a weekly basis and find out the opportunities that he has for you to start making money today. 1-800-432-1022, rarecoloreddiamonds.com. Good luck to our Edmonton Eskimos against the Stampeders in the first preseason game of the year. That's it. Another edition of the World Financial Report on Radio with Harold Siegel and me, Randy Marshall. We will talk to you next week.